Hello, my dear students. Let's start with the further concepts of the list chapter. But before that, let me recall the things that we have discussed in the previous video. In the previous video, we have seen how to create a list, how to add the contents into the list, and how to access the specific element from the list with a specific index value. And we have also seen that by using the negative indexing, we'll be able to extract the elements from the end of the list, and by using the slices on the list we'll be able to extract the sublist, that is the group of the elements from the list. And if we use a length function on any list variable, it is going to give you the count on the total number of the elements present in the list. So the list is considered as a mutable because if we are able to replace the already existing element with the new element, so it is termed as the mutable. So if we use the plus operator on to list, it is going to concatenate the contents of the list. And if we use the star operator on a list and a number, it is going to repeat the contents of the list by the times the number that you are going to use for the star operator. And if we are going to use a delete function on the list variable with a specific index value, this is going to delete that particular element present at this index value. For example, in this case, it is going to remove the rat element here. So coming to the next concept, here we are going to see how the list is going to be useful when you want to use it in a program. So whatever we have seen in a previous video, those all are related to the basic concept regarding how the list is created and how the contents are added. But now in this video, we'll see how it can be useful when we use it in any program. So before using the list, let's see this example here. In this example, what has been done, the intention is to read the cat names. The 6 cat names needs to be read and the same cat names needs to be displayed as a result here. So for that, what has been done here is a separate print statement has been used for the each cat name, and the separate individual variables has been used here in order to read the cat names here. That means for every one cat name, a separate print statement and a separate input function, where you are going to use it for the 6 times. Why? Because you want to read the 6 cat names here. While displaying, you are using the print statement by taking all the variable names where you have stored the cat names. So this is the usual thing that you do without using the list when you want to read the more number of the values at a time. But now we'll see how this same logic can be reduced, or the number of the lines or the complexity of this can be reduced by using the list here. So this is the same program. This program is going to do the same thing as it is done in this program, but there are some few modification that is done with by using the list here. So let's see what has been done here. So you can see here the cat names is a variable that is used to create the list variable here. So the while loop has been used, which is going to run in a true condition, that is always in a true condition. So in this case, see here, within the while, the print statement is used to read the cat name, and then an input function is used to read that cat name, and the next the condition is checked here in order to check whether the user has entered the name or he has entered the blank line here. So why the blank line is checked here is, for this if statement, you can see the break has been used in order to say that whenever the user is going to enter the blank line or just the enter key, the loop has to be terminated and it has to come out of the loop and continue with this print statement here. So that means in order to make this loop to terminate, the user has to press the enter key. So unless if the user is going to enter the names continuously, that will be stored in the name here. So after that, you can see here where these values are going to be added. So this statement is used where you can add the contents into the list here. So how it is done is, you can see here the cat names is a list variable for which you can see the cat names, the plus operator is used, that is the concatenation. What you are concatenating, you are taking the same string input, the what is read by the user, into the square bracket. That means you are making this content as a list content which needs to be concatenated to the cat variable that you have read here. So this once it has been done, once the user enters the blank line, that is the enter key, the loop is going to be terminated, and at the last it is going to be displayed with the help of the for loop here. So let's see this example with the help of execution. So in this example, the same program has been typed here. So I'll just run this example. So you can see here it is asking me the name of a cat. I'll enter first initially as a cat1. Next I'll enter the cat2. So cat3, cat4, cat5. So you can see here still it is asking me to the enter. So when this loop is going to be terminated, according to the logic of this program, you can see here, if I'm going to enter the blank line, that is, if simply if I press the enter key, it is going to come out of the loop. So see here, if I press the enter key, it came out of the loop, and at the last what it is doing here, it is displaying the names of the cat which has been entered by the user here. So what happens actually here in this example is when it first displays enter the name of the cat, I'll type it as a cat1. So this cat1 is going to be stored into the variable name. So next it is going to check this condition. If it doesn't satisfied, it will come to this line here. So in this case you can see here cat names is equal to cat names. So if you remember, this cat names is a list variable here. So this is used with a plus operator along with the cat1. So whatever I have entered cat1, it will be taken into the square brackets, telling that this cat1 is a list content here. So which needs to be concatenated with the already existing list variable cat names. So in the first iteration, the cat1 is going to be added to the cat names here. So when it asks for the second time, I'll enter the name as a cat2, again where it is going to be taken into the variable name. Followed to that, again it is going to operate here. So already existing content is cat1, which needs to be concatenated with the new value of this name, which is the cat2 here. So that means again this cat2 is going to be added to the cat names here. So this is going to continue until and unless the loop is terminated. That means all the cat1, cat2, cat3, cat4 and cat5 are going to be concatenated and added into the list variable known as the cat names. So once I press the blank line, that is the simply pressing the enter key, it is going to come out of this loop, and then it is going to execute these two statements here, that is the for loop and the print. So what it is going to do, if you are going to use the list variable for the for loop, so you need not have to do any explicit increment over here. By default it is going to consider the individual element for the each iteration of the loop. For example, so for the first iteration, it is going to point to the first element of the list, that is cat1. So that is going to be printed here. So for the second iteration, it is going to follow to the cat2. So the for loop is going to terminate until and unless it traverses all the elements of the list here. So why this example has been given here is, in case whenever you want to read the multiple values at a time, you need not have to take the separate 5 variables for the each of the elements over there. So in that case, you can go for using the loop along with the list concept, where automatically you can go on adding all the elements entered by the user, and later on you can access those elements with the help of the for loop here. I hope this example is clear to you. So now here it has been clearly shown that how you can use the for loop on the list here. See, there are the two cases where you can access the contents of the loop, contents of the list by using the for loop. So in the first case, in the simplest way, where the list is very short, you can go for using for I in directly into the list here. So print of I. That means what happens here is, here in this case, for the each iteration, it is going to point to the individual element from the list here. For example, for the first iteration, it is going to point to the 0. For the second iteration, 1. For the third iteration, 2. And for the fourth iteration, 3. So in the meanwhile, when you have the larger list, in that case, you cannot afford for taking the entire list into the for loop statement itself. So in that case, what you can do here is an example for I in range, the length of the that group to tell that for how many iterations this for loop needs to be executed. So later on you can take the indexing value in order to tell that you want to access the elements of that list over here. So let me show you these two examples with the help of the execution so that it will be more clear for you. So I'll take the for loop for I iteration variable. In is a mandatory keyword. So directly what I'll do, I'll just take the simple numbers into this list. So you can see here how this for loop has executed. So you need not have to specify. For the each iteration, it is going to point to the one element from the list and it is going to terminate when it reaches the last element from the list here. You can see print of I means for the first iteration, it is going to take this 1. For the second iteration, 2. Third iteration, 3. And fourth iteration, 4. Fifth iteration, 5. So you need not have to take the any new line character here. By default, for the each iteration the for loop is going to display it for the new line itself. So you need not have to specify any new line character here. Instead the for loop is going to by default take the each iteration to be executed with the new line over here. So let me take the same example with some range another way, that is using the range and the length function here. So I'll take this same list with some variable here. So while printing, you cannot directly take here I. Instead, you are supposed to take x of I because you want to access the elements of the list which are stored in the x variable, which can be accessed with a specific index value. So for the each iteration, it is going to point to the x of y here. So you can see here the same thing has been displayed here. So how does this particular part is going to work here is excuse me, the length of x, in the sense the length of this list is going to be considered. The length here is the 5. So the range of 5 means you already know that how does this range is going to work. Range of 5 means it is going to point from the 0 to 4, not the fifth element. So one value less to the parameter that you are going to take for the range function here. So 0 to 4, in the sense you can see here x of 0 is going to point to 1, x of 1 is 2, x of 3 sorry x of 2 is 3, x of 3 is 4, x of 4 is 5. So it is not going for the x of 5. Why? Because within the range you have it is going to behave as a range of 5. So that means it is going to consider it from the range of 0 to 4. So I hope it is clear for you. Whenever you are going to use the for function on the list, these are the two ways where you can go for using. This is suitable when you have the very short list where you can directly type it into the for loop. But this is the standard method whenever you want to direct or dynamically do something with the complex programs. You can go for using the range with the length of the x, that is the list variable here. So the same example has been given here with a different variable name over. So now coming to the next two operators that you can go for using on the list is the in and the not in operators. So both these in and the not in operators are going to give you result either in the true or false. So how does it is going to work is the in operator has the two operands. The first operand being the content that you want to check, and the second operand being either the list variable or the list itself. So in this case, it is going to check. The in is going to work in this way. That is whether this element is present in this list or not. That means if it is present, it is going to give the result as a true. If it is not present, it is going to give the result as a false. So for example, you can see howdy in this hello, hi, howdy, yes, this element is present over here, so that's why it is giving the result as a true. So in the second example, you can see here the spam is a variable where the it has been initialized to the list contents. So that means you can consider this spam as a list variable. So here we are checking again. This is the element that needs to be checked whether it is present in this list or not. So cat in spam. So I think the cat is not over here. So that's the reason why it is giving the result as a false. So similarly, as the in works, in the same way the not in is also going to work, where it is going to check whether this element is absent in the spam or not. If it is absent, it is going to give the true result. If it is present, then it is going to give the false result. So the not in is going to work exactly opposite to the in operator. So you can see whether the howdy is present in spam, not in spam. It is checking against the not in. So you can see it is present over there. So that's the reason why it is giving the false result here. So cat not in spam. In spam, do you have the cat element? No, you don't have the cat element. You are checking against it for the not in. That's why it is giving you the result as a true. So here is another example program that has been given where you can use this in and the not in operator. So I'm going to show you how it is going to help when you use it in a program. So in the first line you can see here my pets is a list variable where the L list has been created with these three elements: Sophie, Puka, Fat and the fat tail. So in the next display message, and here you are reading some input from the user here. So next, in this next condition you are checking if name. So whatever the input that has been given by user, if name not in my pets. So if it is not present in this content, then you need to print it as I do not have a pet named with whatever the input that has been given here. So else it is going to give you the this result. So this is going to help either to check whether the element is present in the list or not. In the most of the cases, in this example or the in and the not in operators are going to be used when you want to add the anything into the list which doesn't exist into the list. So in that case, either you can go for the in or the not in operators. So we'll see the examples by using the in and the not in the further classes. But for timing, you just understand that in and not in operators are used against the list to check out whether the particular element is present or absent. So one more thing that you need to remember here is the in and the not in operators are going to give the result in the form of a true or false. So multiple assignment trick here. So you can see here a cat is a list variable consisting of the three elements here, and you can see here I have taken the another variable. It is a simple string variable where I want to extract these contents and store into these variables. For example, in this size I want to store the value fat, that is cat of 0 is fat. So in this color variable I want to store this black. In this position variable I want to take the loud and store into this disposition here. So instead of taking separately three times, each time initializing it with these variables separately, you have the multiple assignment trick where you can take the variables separately and just initialize it with the list variable name here. So in this way, size, color, disposition is equal to cat. So this statement is going to behave exactly in the same way how we did it separately over here. So by default, what it is going to do, size is going to be initialized with the first element of the cat, and color is going to be initialized with the second element of the cat, and disposition is going to be initialized with the third element of the cat. But one thing you need to remember here is whenever you're using the number of variables here to the list variable, the contents of this list needs to be, the number of the contents of this list needs to be exactly same with the number of the variables that you are going to use on the left hand side here. So the same thing has been the same. This thing you need to remember here. I hope it is clear to you that the number of the variables on the left hand side needs to be exactly equal to the total number of the contents that are present in this list here. So in this case, you can see how many variables are here: 1, 2 and 3. So how many contents are in there in the list? 1, 2 and 3. So 3 variables, 3 contents. So on whichever list you might be using for the multiple assignment, you have to remember that the variables, number of variables needs to be equal to the number of the contents into the list. So now coming to the next concept, we shall discuss some of the methods on the list, methods that you can use with the list. Methods in the sense, the built-in methods here. So finding a value in a list with the index method. So whenever you want to find or identify the particular element from the list, you can go for using the different methods. One among is the index method here. How it needs to be used here with the index method is, so the syntax for the index method is the list variable name dot, the name of the method is index, and the parameter to this index is the element within a double quotation or a single quote here. So hello. So what it is going to give you as a result is, it is going to give you the index value at which the hello is present over here. In the same way, you can see here the next example is spam.index heas. So heas is present at which index value? 0, 1, 2 and 3. So it is going to give you the result as a 3. So what you need to remember here is the index method is used on the list variable, which takes the list element as a parameter, and as a result it is going to give the index value at which this particular element is present. If you are checking for the element which is not present, you are going to get the error as a howdy is not in the list. I hope it is clear to you that when the index is used. So it's very simple. Do remember that when you use the index method on the list, it is going to give you the index value as a result to tell at which index position the element of this list is present over there. So coming to the next method, methods that you can use on the list is adding the values to the list with the append and the insert methods. See, one of the method that we have seen previously to add the elements to the list is the concatenation. So this is the traditional method that where you can use to add the elements to the list. But you do also have the certain built-in methods where you can use to add the elements to the list, that is the append and the insert here. So you can see here the syntax that you need to follow to use the append is the list variable name dot append followed by the element that you want to add here. So for example, you can see spam is equal to cat, dog and bat. So already you have created a list variable with the spam where you have added the 3 elements here. To the same list, I just want to add the one more element here as a mouse. So what happens, how you need to use it, the list variable name is spam dot append, and this is the element that I want to add, mouse. So if you print the spam, you can see here the element has been added. Do concentrate here where the element has been added here. So you can see the element has been added at the end of the list after the last element with the existing elements here. So that means you need to remember that when you use the append method on the list, the element is going to be always added at the last position here. So let me show you with an example again here. Create a list. The y is equal to, randomly I add few elements here. So this is the list that I have created here, y. So to this y, I just want to add the one more element as append. So the syntax that you need to follow for using the append method is the list variable dot append, and the parameter is the element that you want to add here. So you can see I have added the one more element as a orange to this list. So let me display this list here. So you can see here, so where this particular new element has been added. So you can see the already existing elements are apple, mango, 1, 2 and orange. So always when you use the append method, the element that is going to be added is at the last position. It is going to be appended to the last position here. So coming to the next method that you can use on the list variable to add the elements is insert. So what is the syntax of this insert method is the list variable name dot insert. This insert method is going to use the two parameters here. So index comma element. So that means you need, using this insert method, you need to specify at which index position you are going to add this element. So make sure that index is the index value where you want to add the element, and the element is the content that you want to insert into that list over there. So with this example, you can see here you have already have the elements as cat, dog, and the bat. So spam dot insert, you can see here 1 is the index position that has been taken, and the element that you want to add is chicken here. So print it chicken. You can see here at the 0th position, as usual, you have the cat. At the 1 position, actually with the already existing list you had the dog, but you can see at the 1 position new element has been inserted here as chicken, and followed by the rest of the elements. That means whenever you add the new elements, so the next elements of that existing list is going to be moved with the 1 position more index value over there. So that means you can see here dog, it has been moved to the 2 index value, bat, it has been moved to the 3rd index value. Let's see in this example here. So we'll use the same list here, y dot insert. I'll take it as a 2. So what does this means here? This is a list variable with the insert method. The first parameter tells that at which index position this element needs to be added. So with the existing list, you can see a 0. With the 0th position apple is there. With the 1th position mango is there. With the 2th position 1 is there. That means here with the 2th position, I want to add this chocolate, and the rest of the elements needs to be moved ahead. So if I press type Y and check it out, you can see here apple, mango, and with this position the chocolate has been added, and the rest of the elements has been moved to the 1 value with more to the indexes. I hope it is clear to you that how you can use the append and the insert methods here. Now, in the previous video, we have seen the delete method where we wanted to delete the particular element with respect to the index value. If you have forgotten, let me show you the delete method here. So here you can see the delete method, which is used to remove or delete an element from the list here. But how it is going to be used? It is going to be used with the specific index value here. For example, you need to specify the index value to tell that which element you want to delete from the list here. So in this remove function here, it is quite different over here. You are going to use it on a list variable, but instead of the index value here, you are going to directly specify the which element you want to remove from the list. So in this example, you can see here spam is a list variable consisting of these elements. So spam dot remove of batch. So you can see here the remove function is going to take the element itself as a parameter in order to delete that. So in this case, the bat is going to be deleted. If you print the spam, you can see that the bat has been removed from that list. So here is a note. You can see the delete statement is good to use when you know the index of the value you want to remove from the list. The remove method is good when you know the value that you want to remove from the list. So you need to remember, first thing you need to remember here is the delete method is going to take the index value as a parameter in order to remove the element from the list, whereas the remove method is going to take the element itself as a parameter in order to remove that. So whichever is convenient according to your program, where you will be able to get, where you are able to identify the element with respect to the index or the element itself, you can better choose the any one of these options in order to delete the elements from the list. So coming to the next method that you can use on the list is the sort. Then what is the syntax that you can use for the sort method here? So the method, the syntax is the list variable dot, the name of the method is sort all in the lowercase letters with the parenthesis. So how does it is going to work is, it is going to sort in case of the numericals, it is going to sort in the ascending order here. By default, if we are not going to pass anything over here, it is going to sort in the ascending order here. You can see spam is equal to 2, 5, 3.4, 1 and minus 7. If you are going to apply the sort on this method, it is going to you can see here spam, if you print it, so it is going to arrange all them in the ascending orders number here, 7, minus 7, 1, 2, 3.14 and the 5. See, whenever you are going to use the sort method, do remember that it is going to modify the existing variable itself. You cannot initialize it to the new variable where you can store it in the some other variable. The existing variable where you have created the list, that itself is going to be the sorted and it is going to be modified. Now if you are going to use the integers into the list, the integers as a contents of the list, and then if you apply the sort, it is also going to work on it by arranging all the alphabets here with the ASCII values, that is the alphabetically. Alphabetically it is going to arrange into the list if the list contains the strings as an elements here. Okay. So in the next case, as I told you that without any parameters, if you are going to use the sort, both are going to arrange them in the ascending order. But if you want to do it in a reverse order, if you want to work or make the sort to work in the reverse order, that is in the descending order, you need to take the parameter as a reverse initialized with the true T being the capital here. So in this case, it is going to work differently, that it is going to arrange them in a different order over here, that is in the reverse order. So you can see a spam dot sort, it is going to arrange elephants E first, D, C, B and A here. It is going to do the comparison with the first letters, and if the first letters are going to be the same, then it is going to do the comparison with the second letters over there. So that means basically if you take the reverse as a parameter to the sort, it is going to arrange it in the reverse order. So there are the three things that you should note about the sort method here. The sort method sorts the list in a place. Don't try to capture the return value by writing a code line. That's what I told you. It is directly going to applied on a spam, and it is going to modify the contents of the variable itself, and it should not be initialized to the any new variable over there. Cannot sort the list that have both the number values and the string values in them, since Python doesn't know how to compare these values. That means whenever you are going to use the sort method on the list, make sure that the list contains either the integer number values or else it contains only the string values. If the list contains both the values, then it cannot work properly over there. Sort uses the alphabetical order rather than the actual alphabetical order for the sorting strings. This means uppercase letters comes before the lowercase letters. So when you have a strings consisting both the uppercase and the lowercase letters, when you apply the sort method on the such list, it is going to consider the uppercase letters as the first order and then followed by the lowercase letters here. So these are the things that you need to remember when you want to use the sort method on a list. So there is a one example where you can use a list. I'll just show you here. So it is said to be as a magic ball program here. So what is done in this function is, there is some poetic line that has been written over here. So all the lines has been taken into the list here. So you can see here messages is equal to the list has been created consisting of the all poetic line. So what is the intention over here is we just want to randomly select, whenever we run this program, a random line needs to be selected from this list and which has to be displayed on the screen. So for that, what has been done, import random, a random module has been imported, and then in this print you can see here messages is the list variable into the square bracket to tell that which message needs to be selected. You cannot say any static message to be displayed always the same time. You just want randomly to be selected any one statement from this list. So in that case, what you can do is random.rand integer to tell the index value. To that, what parameter you want to pass? 0 to the length of the messages minus 1. So this length of messages, in the sense it is going to give you the total contents of this list here. So the contents in the sense 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are the 9 contents here. So the result of only this part is going to be 9. And why minus 1 has been taken here is you want to tell here among this integer which value needs to be taken. So if you are not going to take the minus 1, then it is going to consider the random value to be selected from the 0 to 9, and at that time if it is going to take 9 which doesn't exist here. Why? Because the contents of the count is going to be considered with respect to 1 to the n here, but indexing value is considered with the 0 to the n minus 1. So that's the reason why the minus 1 is been taken here, just to tell that you can extract the any content ranging from 0 to the 8 here. So this is just a simple example that has been taken from your textbook to tell that how you can use a list where in an efficient way. So the further contents will continue in the next video.